Hey guys, and welcome to part 5 of Let's Play Spider-Man Web of Shadows Amazing Allies Edition for the PS2. In the last part we defeated Rhino, and now we're just taking a cab. I don't know what happened. We were underground, and now Spider-Man just took a cab. Which I kind of really like. It's pretty funny. So anyway, we defeated Rhino, we escaped the lab, but really there was no point to that. Very little point to that happening, because now Nick Fury is calling us up and is telling us how the next part is with the Tinkerer. So we've actually got to track down the Tinkerer or his base and get the thing that he has, and that was ultimately pointless what we did, so good start.
Before I thought it was as bad as it could get, but now I realize it couldn't possibly get anywhere.
Why is it always Harlem? Can't they destroy the Upper East Side for once? Sweet Christmas.
Sweet Christmas. See, now that's a good catchphrase right there.
Spider-Man.
I know what you're thinking. Could he really be that good looking in person? Well, the answer is yes.
Who like directed this game? Is that what it's called in gaming terms? I know there are now directors for games, but who directed this? Like, okay, so this is Luke Cage, and he's helping fight gangs and the symbiotes. So obviously we're gonna be like, hey, teaming up. But the camera angles, this whole part so far has to be my favourite in terms of what happens, because nothing crazy happens. It's just like the perfect example of all just the weird, like, I don't know, lack of thought, lack of direction, lack of time, lack of money, lack of budget, lack of like all that kind of those small little details just coming together, where for most of this part the camera is just incorrect and wrong. So at the moment it's fine. Could have been zoomed out a little, but just during that cutscene it was just like, here's Luke Cage, and then it just keeps zooming in, and you're just like, okay, I can see him, and it just keeps zooming in. Then it just cuts back to Spider-Man, and then it cuts back to Luke Cage with that zoomed in angle. It's so weird. It's so weird. Like, it's so weird. Because the models aren't very good. They're bad models. But I love it. Like with other parts when fighting the Rhino, a bit stressed out, a bit annoying trying to figure that out. But with this part and this level, oh, it's a joy. It's an absolute joy. And you lucky people are very lucky for that I'm here, because watching this footage, I feel like, without me explaining what's going on, really wouldn't make that much sense. Like this. So there's a big fire, so we got to pull down the water tower, but there's a train that comes past. So the easiest thing to do is that you just stand on that platform and keep zipping up. But of course you're not actually... The camera is too zoomed in for you to see that you're doing that, but you're just reaching all the way along, and it's like... It's weird. I don't know why the camera doesn't zoom out. The camera for this whole part makes everything really confusing and weird. And then, I can't. I just don't. But anyway, we're actually out on the streets, and my prayers have been answered. Well, first I get hit by a train, so that's helping the situation. But this actually looks like a run-down version of New York or Manhattan. This actually looks like they're symbiotes. Not at the moment. This is a bad time for me to bring up that point where actually it's like, hey, look, symbiotes. But yeah, we actually get to see the creatures. And before in the last part we saw them in the lab, and now we actually get to see them on the street. Again, I don't know why I'm talking about this now when I'm clearly just fighting generic bad guys, or literally the same model fighting me, but just multiple of them. Just like a few of them. But we do actually get to see the symbiotes. They're fun. I really like the design. I mean, very alien-esque and not quite as cartoonish as you would kind of imagine, which is weird with this game. I guess this game isn't actually that cartoonish, and I think I'll say cartoonish one more time, but I think the other games are actually more stylized and more cartoony than this one. I think this version goes for a more kind of not realistic, but more down-to-earth look of New York and a sewer. Like, it's not vibrant in any way. The 360 version of the game was very vibrant, and then the DS version was very like strict with its colours. It was all very purple and dark and whatever. And this one's just dingy New York. It's very odd. But anyway, as we progress through this level, there's a guy. I mean, this is like the third model that we've seen of this. So pretty much right here we get a decision where we can flip the switch, which would move the train, and all the symbiotes would follow the train, and that would go, you know, they would then go after Luke Cage, or you can not do that and get good points. Like, that was like a really big good point, bad point decision right there. But it actually has no real weight to it. I don't know what it really ultimately does. I always just say, no, I'll take on the enemies, because it makes very little difference. And here it is! Here's the mission that I was talking about. It's just like, in the first level, when it's like, go get the cat. Fair enough. It's getting into the game. You gotta set some bound. You know, it's Spider-Man just being Spider-Man. It's fine. It's dumb, but it's fine. This one is that. This is part 5. We've fought multiple villains at this point. We're trying to stop symbiotes. There's literally aliens everywhere. And then this one guy in a suit is like, I don't want my suit to get bird mess on. So can you go scare the pigeons? And what makes it so beautiful and perfect is that the pigeons are they look awful. They look just terrible. Their movement is so basic and like it's so good. I'm just enjoying myself watching this. And then look at this. He just walks into the goop, gives a thumb, like he's just cheering, giving a thumbs up, like, thanks Spider-Man. Now I'm covered in alien goo. You the man. Like, why?
Great power comes.
It's just there's no thought put into it, lack of direction again. But it's you know, some people would play this game and wouldn't appreciate it fully. Some people would just play and be like, it's a bad Spider-Man game, whatever, who really cares? It's just, obviously it was going to be bad, it was the PS2 version, the company wasn't that good. You know, some people just kind of throw it away. But if you take the time to really stop and break this game down, it's a joy. And I'm going to probably change my tune in later parts when it gets harder, and some of the previous parts I was already quite annoyed at it. But this part is just, oh, it all just comes together beautifully. Like, look at this! Why did that just happen? And by the way, that was a glitch, part of that, because you land on something, it breaks, you just fall down. No reason. There's no reason why that happens. There's no reason. Like, there's none. There's zero reason to have those break and make Spider-Man fall down. If you want him to go explore down, then have it so the mission objective is downwards, or make it worth exploring. It's not worth exploring in this game. So they just make this really lazy cutscene, like, and then it glitched because you're supposed to fall in the dumpster, and it's supposed to be like, like, you know, all the bit of fun, you know, pointing fun at Spider-Man, but like, it's so weird. It's really weird. So anyway, we are tracking down the Tinkerer after all, and apparently he's got a high electric bill, so...
Well, that was surprisingly easy.
And yeah, there we go. That's the power core. So the Tinkerer is in here, we got the power core, job well done.
It's nice to get a little recognition. Thanks. Either my spider sense is tingling, or I'm having a stroke. Hey, did you just throw a car at me? We're on the 15th floor. I know it's hard to find parking in Manhattan, but give me a break. You don't look so good.
Okay, so for you counting out there with your little tally sheets, that was the second stroke joke of the game. That's the second time Spider-Man has made a joke about having a stroke. The first one you can kind of be like, whatever. The second one is just a little lame. A little tacky. So yes, Luke Cage has been taken over, and yeah, that choice that we made earlier about sending people towards him or not doesn't affect this at all. You fight him either way. So again, that choice is ultimately pointless. But this whole fight, it goes along with the rest of this level that I was talking about, where it's just weird.
My favorite seafood restaurant. No line. I should come here every time there's an alien invasion. Here's a little gift.
It's so weird. What the hell was that? This fight is so weird. Okay, so a lot of the fight or during certain points in the fight you get smacked up there and it changes the sign, and it's quite a funny payoff with what happens. But also there's just a guy standing on the right saying I own a restaurant, and then Spider-Man's like, there's a crab sign, I'm going to throw it at Luke Cage, and then you get like the laziest animation where it's just this crab floating along, then it hits Luke Cage and just instantly disappears. Like the laziest thing. It's really weird. It's so weird. But anyway, so just like with the boss fights before, this is alternating between ones that have, or boss fights that have strict strategies and strict movement, and ones that are just one-on-one battles. So this is a one-on-one battle, and it isn't that hard. You get given 2 different health pickups. So you get one on the top there, and you get one on the right where the crab thing is. So, and yes, there's the payoff. Again, I like the writing in this game. I like how self-deprecating it is towards Spider-Man. But yeah, so this fight isn't hard. You get 2 health upgrades or health boosts, and his attacks don't do that much damage. It's not like the Rhino where he'll stun lock you. And that's the thing, he'll never just lock you into a pattern and kill you instantly. So not too bad considering. But yes.
And away we go.
Great. Again, weird. Just such a weird ending. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, so not a hard boss fight. You just gotta punch him a few times when you can, jump away, then come towards him. The only thing to look out for is that when he throws you into the sign, when you land, instantly jump. Because when he throws you up into the sign, he will then slam on the ground, and that will do damage to you. So don't get too far away from him, because every time he slams on the ground, he will damage you, and he only does that when you're far away or up above him. So just keep close, get your hits in when you can, and just grab the health. You should be able to do it without the summons. So anyway, next time in Let's Play Spider-Man Web of Shadows Amazing Allies Edition for the PS2, more weirdness. I can't wait. I actually can't wait. So I've been Honest on 23. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.